stay tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to a special episode of Airgun Detectives. I'm your host, JC, and today our Rare and Unusual series continues. And what are we featuring today? This is the Gamo Whisper Fusion. So we're going to take the mystery out of the Gamo Whisper Fusion. This rifle is no longer manufactured, and don't be confused with the Mach 1 because this is not the Mach 1. And this does have a unique stock too. But we'll get into that in just 1 second here. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down in the corner. Won't cost you anything. It's absolutely free, but it really does help support the channel. Also, if you want to check out my website, www.airgundetectives.com. On that site, we've got the Generation 2 bipods, which you can see are right here on this rifle. In fact, this is one of the first rifles I actually put these on. Also, I've got the Gamo trigger screws, which this one has in it as well. This is a cat trigger. If you have a cat or sat trigger, it'll turn that into a match grade style trigger. Check the reviews out on that. Best $10 you'll ever spend on your Gamo rifle. Hey, I also have some rec scopes and t-shirts, hats, and also check out my inventory because I try to recycle things so then I can purchase some new stuff. Who knows, maybe I'll part with this one day at some point, but anyway, little backstory on this one. This is one of the first Gamos I purchased, not the very first, but one of the first ones with the synthetic stock. It was probably right around 2013 or so. But what really intrigued me is the looks of this stock. The nice wide handle here, the adjustable cheek rest, just the overall stock itself is what really captured my eye. Now, this is in 22 caliber. They originally had them in .177 as well as 22, but this is 22. It has their IGT gas piston. It was one of their first gas pistons that came out. It's a single shot. Again, I love this raised cheek piece. It really makes the rifle. It has the most awesome open sights, these fiber optic sights. You got green ones in the back. You got like an orange or red in the front. And the sight picture is just amazing. Probably fully adjustable. Probably one of the best fiber optic sights I've ever actually used. Also, this has the Whisper technology. And they call it Whisper for a reason. This thing is really, really quiet. It really is. So pay attention. When we do the chrono test, we also do that dBA meter, which registers the sound. Check out the sound level on this. You're going to be surprised, I promise you. This rifle is 46 inches overall. It's got a 16-inch barrel, and it weighs right around that 6-pound mark without the scope and the bipods. This rifle is back when they actually put the velocity on the top. They're claiming this has a velocity up to 975 feet per second with an alloy pellet. Well, I can tell you right off the bat that's not true, but we'll show you what it actually does perform at. This is just an older scope I had. It was, believe it or not, it was a Leapers. This scope is really old as well. And like I said, I put this together probably right around, I got the rifle around 2013 and then started working on the bipods and what have you and got that one. Actually, yeah, these are my Gen 2 bipods. This might have been one of the first rifles I ever put them on at one point, yeah. So that would have probably been around 2019 or so when I put those. So yeah, I've had this rifle for a while and I have not tuned it. And I will comment on that throughout this video because it's just going to come up. But I'm anxious to show you guys the performance. And so let's go out and test it and then we can come back and we'll talk about it. All right, so stay tuned for the next segment. All right, let's test the Gamo Whisper Fusion over the chronograph. I'm going to just mention again, I love the stock on this gun. This is probably one of my favorite Gamo stocks. It really is. Just feels so good. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and shoot. This thing really likes, like some of these other Gamos as of late, this likes the roughly 13 grain Barracuda greens. So we're going to shoot 5 shots over the chrony and we're going to see how we make out. But these seem to be the most accurate pellets in this rifle. And I'll demonstrate that in the accuracy test. Yep. All right. Shot number 1. 754. Shot number 2, 753. Shot number 3, 755. Shot number 4, 748, and one more shot. .743. There you go. So right there in the mid 7s, so you can see what the velocity and your foot-pounds of energy are. But this rifle is so accurate. Now, even though I've had this for a long time, I've never tuned this. I might tune it one day when I get time, but it's like, why? It's just the greatest little plinker. And I'll show you how accurate it is, but it's easy to cock. We're getting in the mid 7s with these Barracuda greens, so I just haven't had the time. But one of these days I'm going to tune it, and I can probably get a little bit more velocity out of it with a new seal. Go from there. But anyway, there you go, guys. That's your Gamo Whisper Fusion. Let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's test out our Gamo Whisper for some accuracy. I've had this for a while, and I can tell you right now, it's a very accurate rifle. But once again, we're going to shoot the Barracuda greens. These are roughly a 13 grain pellet, same one we chronoed it with. But I'm going to now get to demonstrate the accuracy. So we'll shoot 5 shots. We'll see how well it groups. We're going to be shooting at our 4-inch splatter burst. I love the impact points on these. You can really tell your pellet's hitting. I'll leave you a link down below for those. Go ahead and check this out. We're the usual 60 feet, 20 yards, where I usually like to test the brake barrels. So check that out. All right, let's shoot 5 shots and see how well this groups. Got the cocking effort on this. It's just nothing. I'll take that. Okay, shot number 2. Oh, this thing is so accurate. Shot number 3. Now, what really helps a lot is the bipods too. You guys, I mean, look at how stable a shooting platform this is. And then you put the trigger screw in there. Oh my God. That's 3. And this is 4. And one more. I'm telling you, this thing just stacks the pellets. That's why I mentioned it. You probably hear me mention it a few times. I wanted to tune this, but I almost don't want to touch it. It's just so accurate. Here we go. It's your 5 shots. That is some accuracy, if I do say so myself. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. All right, let's test the trigger on our Gamo Whisper Fusion here. Now, this does have the cat trigger. This is one of the very first rifles, probably one of 2, that I end up putting my trigger screw kit in. So let's, I don't even know what I have this one set at. It's been so long. But let's just see what this one breaks at. Got our trusty Lyman trigger gauge here. And let's see what we got. £1, 9/10 of an ounce. Yeah, so I got this thing set to break at 1 pound. Terrific trigger. So I said, I just love, this is such a good plinker. It really is. It's a great backyard plinker, that's for sure. All right, by the way, you guys want one of those trigger screws, just go to my website. They're still 10 bucks, and that's including shipping. It's the best $10 you will ever spend on a Gamo rifle that has a cat or a sat trigger. I promise you without a doubt. Just check out the reviews on that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. Let's do a little plinking with our Gamo Whisper Fusion. Anyway, we're going to use the same pellets that we used in the accuracy test, which are the Barracuda greens. These are like a 13 grain pellet. So we're usual plinking distance. We're 40 yards out. Go ahead, check out our distance, see what we got up there. We got a ram, some little eggs, a shotgun shell, and a pipe. We're gonna see if we can knock all of that down. So, not making any promises. This rifle doesn't shoot very hot, but it does shoot pretty accurate. So, let's see what we can do here. I'd like to start out with that shotgun shell. Go from there. Dismiss. Yeah, this thing, I'm telling you guys, this thing's pretty accurate. You guys saw on the accuracy test, so no surprise there. All right, the pipe on the right side. All right, now let's just take out one egg at a time. Start with the right side. There's one. All right. Got one more egg there. You know, I'm thinking about tuning this thing, but God, I hate to change anything because it's just so accurate. Now I say that, watch me miss this one. Nope. Yeah, it's so accurate. I was thinking about taking it apart, maybe putting a new seal in it. I might still, we'll see. Not like I don't have enough other things to do. All right, we'll just shoot this one right here. Right in the head. Yeah, I mean, it's got enough power to knock that big steel target over, that's for sure. Yeah, this, I'm telling you, this is one of my first, not my very first Gamo, but one of my first in the kind of the newer with the synthetic stock. But I love this, as I mentioned, I love the raised cheek rest on this. But what a smooth shooter, it really is. All right, guys, let's move on to the next segment. Go ahead and wrap this up. All right, what did you think of the performance of this Whisper Fusion? Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay, like anything else, you know, this is a rare and unusual series, so I don't really rate these guns much. However, I do have a negative, and it's changed in time. When Gamo first put their stuff out, they always overemphasized the velocity, and they tested the guns with an alloy pellet in the perfect atmosphere, including altitude, and you could never, ever achieve that, ever. Of what was actually on the box. But modern day, it actually, they're much more tuned in and a little more, how shall I say, accurate with their estimates as far as velocity goes. So they've really improved on that. But it just shows how things change in time. Anyway, who knows? I might get more velocity out of this if I tune it. I keep talking about it. I'm trying to talk myself into it. But hey, we're still getting 16 foot-pounds of energy out of this. All right, let's talk about the positives because I got a lot. The stock, I told you that's what initially sold me. The stock is just awesome on this. This is like a weapons grade synthetic, and it's just so solid. It's the perfect match for these bipods. They really are. Notice these are mounted right in front of the side mounting stock screws. I usually like to mount them either in front or back depending on the rifle, but these ones actually are in front. The Whisper technology on this is amazing. Gives you guys look at the DBA reading during the chronograph test. This thing is so quiet. It really is. Thus the Whisper technology, because this really is quiet. You could shoot this in your backyard all night long. Yes, you could. I also love the cat trigger on this. You saw the performance with my trigger screw in there. It was basically 1 pound trigger, and awesome, awesome, awesome. What else was outstanding? How about the accuracy? You guys, you don't see too many Gamos that have that tight of accuracy, but it's starting to really, the Gamos I've noticed, the newer ones, and even some of the older ones, they really like those alloy pellets, those H&N, the Barracudas. So, and you saw it. And then the plinking, when we were 40 yards back, we were hitting everything at that distance. So you got to like it. The cocking effort on this, It's only like 30 pounds. It really is. It's not heavy at all. You could sit here and shoot this thing all day long. Like I said, this is one of the most perfect backyard plinkers, as I would classify it. It's quiet, extremely accurate, and it's easy to cock. So I'm not going to rate this, but if I was going to, it would be very close to that 5-star mark. It really would be. But yeah, just overall, fun rifle to shoot. Terrific, terrific performance. Anyway, this, once again, is another episode of our Rare and Unusual series. And again, I try to feature one of these reviews every month on something that's rare and or unusual. And that means rare, maybe they no longer manufacture it anymore. Maybe unusual, because it's different and very, very unique. So I try to do that once per month. So I'm going to keep that going until I run out of some type of inventory. But I don't think it's going to be for a while. Because again, I buy these rifles years ago, and then they no longer manufacture them. So I have plenty of inventory. All right. Anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Airgun Detectives. Don't forget, this is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. Until next time, I hope you and your families are doing great and you're getting plenty of shooting in. So take care, and God bless.